Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Dearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. I have been struggling for the past couple days to get my rent paid. I tried to pay it by the 5th, and I've been trying for a day and a half to get it paid. And then this morning I wake up and the project manager of the place is putting up notes on people's doors who haven't paid the rent yet, saying, it's in your lease agreement to pay the rent. Well, I've been trying, and it is 12:30 now. I just paid my rent. I have been trying for 3.5 hours, but he has been busy every single time. It has not been my fault. So thumbs up for that. I hope your day is awesome. I have things written down over on my list, so I'm going to be turning my head to look over in that direction periodically. I have been playing Fallout not New Vegas again, because of the choke point in Fallout New Vegas Dead Money DLC. I have not gone back to that, and that makes me sad. But I have been racing around like a crazy person, and I've reached the point where I actually can't do it. Normally, there are super mutant overlords, and oh my god, they take as much killing as a Deathclaw or an albino red scorpion. And right now, I've got one of those and a super mutant boss who's coming around the corner at me. I keep coming apart in pieces. I can't run fast enough now to get away to repair my armor, which means I gotta take them on with my broken fisto, which means I can't use it until it's repaired. I don't have a good weapon to hit them with, and I can't run fast enough, so I may be hosed like a Christmas monkey on this roll. Roll, run, thumbs up for that. I do have one of the things, I got a lot of things up here. I've posted a fair amount on my community tab now. I talked about how end of life on Windows 10 and my laptop. I have been suggested a fair amount of things. The biggest overarching one is Linux. Convert it to a Linux machine. I actually have no big issues with that. Once end of life for Windows 10 happens, I'll probably convert it to a Linux machine. Problem is, I'm going to need something else for all the direct Windows stuff. Because sure, there's stuff like Wine and all that to make Windows stuff work on Linux. And it kind of works for a lot of stuff. Not everything. And I use Windows primarily for recording and for playing games. Well, editing and such. And I know Filmora does not make a Linux version. So I need, and since I paid for Filmora, I want to keep using Filmora. So I need to get, before the end of life for Windows 10, I need to get another machine. Also, people keep telling me to use OBS. I have tried to use OBS for years, and I can't. My neurodiverse brain can understand some things and not others. And it's not that I just go, oh, I'm stupid when I look at something. No, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And I fight with OBS. And I usually lose because it'll just say, okay, we've got everything. Now you need to set up an audio source because you don't have any. And then I will fight with it, trying to get it to acknowledge that I in fact do have not only one microphone, but a couple. And it went, nope, nope, no you don't, no you don't. And so I have fought with OBS. And that was just the one time. Every time I've come back to it and said, okay, I'm going to learn, it goes, okay, you know that piece of equipment that you wouldn't be able to use your computer without, like your graphics card? You don't have one. And no matter what I do, it does not work. Now, I use Bandicam to record. You know how many problems I've had with Bandicam? None. It's fire and forget. I turn it on, and then it puts a little I'm recording symbol up in the corner if I want it to, and then it records. I've had problems recording, I think, one game, Doom Eternal. That's it. In the 10 years that I've been using it. One problem. Whereas again, OBS, I can't even get it to acknowledge that I've got equipment. So I am not really enthused about the idea of using OBS on Linux. So, yeah, I gotta stick with Windows. But, I mean, I do want to get a Linux thing, and I want to get away from Windows, and I don't like Windows 11 at all. I am not a Windows fanatic in that I like Windows. I am a Windows fanatic in that the programs that I like run on Windows. If they ran on Linux, I'd run Linux. I am not a operating system purist. I just want the programs to run. I don't care about the system that's running them. But also on my list, there's a lot of things on here. Some of them really kind of heavy duty. But this is, first off, before I get to this one, because it's a lot of cosmic horror stuff and I don't know if I want to spend the entire time on it, I've watched a couple reactions. I've talked about the 6-hour piece of music Everywhere at the End of Time, which is the representation of somebody slipping into dementia and then at the end dying. I have only heard the first 3 albums. I have not listened to the last 3. I have now heard parts of it because I watched one person do, not the full reaction, but just the clips of the last thing. And he said watching other people, they didn't cry during the first 5. But the 6th album broke them. And I can understand why. That good music that you hear at the beginning isn't there anymore. You hear like just long, slow drones, and something you might understand is, oh, that sounds like a trombone, but it's slowed down like 800% and just becomes a drone, and everything is just that way. And then it ends with the guy was going, oh my gosh, these are real people. It ends with, and I'm probably going to cry here, it ends with the sounds of a performance, like at a nursing home, when the person listening is just in the audience. No future, no past, no person, just right now. Oh, my apologies. It's heavy duty. If you are not prepared for something that can just absolutely tear you apart, then I would say don't listen to it. But it is an absolutely devastating piece of music. And I just thought I'd cry on camera about it. There are, again, I'm going to talk about this one for a while, the cosmic horror stuff, because my solo RPG setting is still in the same setting as the cosmic horrors. If it weren't for the cosmic horrors, there would be no solo RPG setting, because it's all within that one multiverse, and there would be no strange and unusual things happening within the universes of this multiverse had not Dread Amaterasu swam out of the Ungata and then landed in the Infinite City and live birthed her 12 children. One of the things I talked about it a lot a couple of years back, but I just wanted to remind myself and to remind others. Of her 12 children, one of them is a being called Gotzi Ray. Gotzi Ray is one of the more bizarre of the cosmic heroes. Cosmic horrors. The others can be looked at as kind of extrapolations, like Aerogots is a gigantic spider, Beta Nera is an underwater type thing, Tamikanoso runs with like wolves and such like that, but Gotzi Ray is more of a space monster type thing. But I had working on a series of humanizing stories, because the cosmic horrors are such beings that we couldn't even comprehend them. I mean, you wouldn't understand a cosmic horror if you came face to face with him. Dread Amaterasu is like coming face to face with gravity, or face to face with sunlight. You can't understand it. It's not a being, but that's the only part of it that you can comprehend. So I write, or have been working on in my head, humanizing stories where there are tales of them written as if they were for children or people, to describe what happens with them. Because what happens with them, the humanizing stories are just half a molecule away from being absolute fabrications. They are so far above us and with what they do that we can't comprehend them. Trying to tell stories about them is next to just an outright lie. Except, even though it is so close to being an outright lie, it is also the most accurate way to tell the story. And one of the things is, the 12 live birth cosmic horror children each have a defining moment that brings them into adulthood, maturation, and defines their personality. Erogots is trying to catalog the entirety of the multiverse because they lost a memory in the past, and they are determined to never lose a memory again. They are broken. They are collecting and trying to catalog the entire multiverse. Gotzi Ray almost got one of their siblings killed on an adventure. And it was only the hard work of Dread Amaterasu that saved their life. And they gave a straight talk to Gotzi Ray about how, had Beta Nera died, there would have been nothing to save Gotzi Ray from her wrath. But that was Gotzi Ray's defining moment, that overconfidence. Problem is, at some point later in their life, they come across something. Universes can go cancerous. You have to be very careful. Even the multiverse will do its best to eject and get rid of these universes. Gotzi Ray, in their overconfidence, says, I am a child of Amaterasu. What can happen? Enters that universe and almost dies. Manages to escape with a scream of agony and terror, leaving behind bits and pieces, is being chased. Goes to ground in a different universe and hides. Relative to the cosmic horrors, that lasts about 6 years that they are gone and hiding. They finally make their way up out of their delusions and psychosis from hiding from the thing that was chasing them. They make it up and out, and then back to the infinite city where Amaterasu is. And in the case of the humanizing stories, Amaterasu, depicted in the humanizing stories as about a 6 or 7 foot tall, very pale woman. Very pale, very thin, wearing like just a thin, cotton-like shift of a dress. Jet black hair, jet black eyes, and just pale, pale, pale. And when she comes up to Gotzi Ray and talks to Gotzi Ray, there is gray in her hair and her eyes are shot with gray. And she just tells Gotzi Ray, we went to find you, or we went to find Gotzi Ray. All we found were particles and nothing else. And after 6 years, you'll come back. I have already mourned Gotzi Ray's passing. I almost did not survive the last time this happened. Now, I could not survive it when you do this again. So please, stranger, turn and go, and let me mourn the death of my child in peace. And then she turns and leaves and rejects him because of that. And Gotzi Ray, rejected by Dread Amaterasu, his mother, has to leave. And it's one of those moments that I envision where after this happens, Gatsire is just standing there, afraid to breathe or move. Because if you don't breathe or move, then this might not be real. But if you breathe, if you move, if you do anything, then it's real. It really, really happened. Yeah, and so poor Gatsire, rejected by Dread Amaterasu. Of all their children, she's the only one that actually has it's hard to say. In the terms of humanizing stories, she is a woman. But in the cosmic horror terms, we don't have any real understanding of what she could possibly be. But it is sad. So, thumbs up for that. What else do I have on my list? The rest of it is like on the solo RPG stuff. First off, I just was talking about word stuff here. I think about this stuff. I mean, like, the plurals for words. Like you have an op or an oppie, both of them the good words, and the plural for that is the opani. These are the about 4.5 foot tall, thin, goblinoid types. They have gray-green skin, along with sort of a South American skin tone cast. Because of genetics, there's always sort of a dimmer grayish, but some have it heavy, some don't. Green, you can have none, or you can have a lot. And then with just the natural skin tone colors otherwise, it depends. Mix all three of those in there, you can have a pretty dark-skinned Hulat character, or a very light-skinned, or a very gray, or a very greeny. And they're all just, it's variations. That's the word I was looking for. Now those are the Apani. Then there is the Hobbs. They're effectively the human of the Hulat. But they're either Hob or Habu, works for a singular, and then Habani, of course, is the plural. And then for the orcs, of course, the Orkani, orc and Orkani. There is no other word for that. Hob or Habu, both of them are work, but it's just orc or the Orkani. So thumbs up for that. But what else do I have over here? Because I do have some stuff on here. Yes, because the settlement in the solo RPG place is Nagrat. And Nagrat is an Apani word for home. And you can tell the differences in the kind of languages because Nagrat is that one Apani word, as stated. Repeating myself there. But they settled Nagrat from getting people up in the settlement of Tuathic. Tuathic is a Hob word just for settlement. It's just, there's the settlement, and eventually everyone just called it that, and now that's the name of it. So Tuathic is a Hob word. Now the forest around Nagrat, where the adventures are taking place, is Ogranic. But that's an Orkani word. So you can see the various types of linguistic terms they've taken, with Nagrat for the Apani, and Tuathic for the Hobbs, and Ogranic for the Orcs. So thumbs up. Yay! And then of course everyone is big on Orkani culture, because if it hadn't been for the Orkani, no one else would have lived. They, in the very beginning, determined what was needed and how to live, and pulled everyone together and around them. And it was their, I can't remember the word for it, but how they chose to live that made it so that everyone could survive. You have to keep moving. You can't overforage. You can't overhunt. You cannot stay in one area for long, or the negative impact of your being there will ruin the area. And if it hadn't been for them, they probably would have survived, but it would have been much, much more difficult and much, much different of an outcome. But because of that, everything is sort of tied in and around the Orkani culture without actually anyone just saying, oh, this is Orkani or this is Orkani. It's just, that's the way you do stuff. You do stuff because that's the way it's always been, and it's always been because if you hadn't, you wouldn't have lived. So it's just inbuilt into culture, which is why the Elvandri, the dwarves of this place, they came up out of the ground everywhere. And so they're finding Elvandri, the Hulat, as they move south in Karthkog, because they came up everywhere. But because they came up from underground to up here, it's been quite a culture shock, and most of the Elvandri did not survive that. But the ones that have, especially on Karthkog, up where the Hulat are moving down southward, yeah, they too embrace unconsciously the Orkani culture, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have lived. So thumbs up. And anything else on my list? Oh yes, it's my, you know, something has to be pretty bad if just a few days of it sours the previous month. The last month of my internet service has been awesome. Every time I've turned on my adapter, every time I've gone online, it has been fast, constant, always. Since the first, it has been absolute dog water, to the point that it has negatively impacted my memories of the last month. The wireless here is slow, and the adapter there resets about 7 or 8 times a day, and when it does, that's 10 minutes that you can't do anything. My adapter has been doing something very similar to that, except it tells me I'm still online, only nothing works. And that has been constant. When I call them up to pay my bill today, I gotta say, hey, you know, why am I paying you for service when the free thing is better than what I'm paying for now, and the free thing I wouldn't give to my worst enemy? So I'm not too happy about that right now. Yay! On the other hand, though, I did sleep last night. I took some melatonin before I went to bed, and that at least kept me asleep, so thumbs up for that. Yay! Past that, I am just trying to survive. It is hot here, and it's going to get hotter, and unfortunately the long side of my apartment catches the morning sun. When the sun comes up, it starts beating on the side of my apartment, and the side of my apartment is dark red and the roof is black. I have fans in the windows, 2 fans in here. I frequently have to put the door open, and I am still too warm. For $144, they have a window air conditioning unit that will cool off 150 square feet. If I close off the bathroom door, I've got about 150 square feet, because this is a 170 square foot apartment. I can't afford to spend 144 bucks on a air conditioning unit, but I can't afford to die either. I already, from November when I first got here, I have been fighting my legs cramping when I go to bed at night because it's too warm at night. I am going to die. I need an air conditioning unit. So it's going to be fun trying to survive the rest of this month. Life is life. Still though, hey, 24 minutes in, and I don't think I have anything else over there to talk about. So hopefully your day is awesome. Hopefully you're not burning to death. Hopefully if you're in a part of the world that's not the United States and you're watching, hopefully it's not too bad for you. The overwhelming number of viewers I have are from the US. So if you watch to the end, in fact, if you watch to the end, if you could type, well, at least to hear fries in the comments to let me know, and to let the YouTube algorithm know that people watch these videos to the end. I get a couple, so that'd be cool if you could do that. Yay! So, I'm just going to get this done. I'm going to try and do stuff outside, and I'm going to try and survive and be as creative as possible. Hopefully you can do the same, but if you can't get things done, do not beat yourself up, please. It does not help a thing. Until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. So, yeah, no great quips here at the end, just I'm thrilled about the end that I gotta spend money that I can't afford, because otherwise I am going to die. The noise that you hear is I have turned off the 2 window fans and one of the other floor fans, but I have to have moving air or I'm going to die, especially in this heat. My sincere apologies that the fan is loud.